Here at 360, we're excited about introducing 360 Bandit here for the spring of 2018. So let's get ready to start installing this here on the planter. When you receive your Bandits, here's what you should expect. So basically, as you open each box, you're going to receive the yoke that does the majority of the holding and what we mount to. You're also going to see a bag that has your hoses and your hose guides, your Ys, and some of the attachment for actually the liquid to be running through. You're also going to be receiving the discs, certain hardware just to help go with the mounting process, and then obviously another part of Bandit this year is the drag chain assembly. So as we get ready here to actually switch this planter over from what's existingly been on it to 360 Bandit, we just got to look at the row system, and actually we got to start removing stuff that's on there. So the first thing we want to do on this particular planter, we've got the cast closing wheels that have the cap here. We want to start by removing that cap just with a screwdriver to be able to get that cap out so that we can get to that nut. Once we've got that removed, we just basically want to go to the other side of the row unit and remove the other cap as well. So the next step, once we get the dust cap removed, is to be able to basically take these closing wheels off. The one thing to remember is that the way they're threaded, I'm here on the left side of the row unit, you're actually going to be running your gun as if you were tightening to remove that. You're going to remove that. Then once you go to the other side, and we're going to remove that side, you basically need to switch your gun back the other direction to be able to bring that bolt out. You can discard of the two bolts, you can discard of the two nuts because we're giving you hardware to be able to use in place of that. But you do want to keep this piece of hardware because we're going to need this during the installation. The next step, once you've got the closing wheels off, is if you do have an existing chain on the planter, you're going to want to go ahead and remove that. We've now got the closing wheels off so we can easily get to these bolts. You simply put the gun on, remove them, so that because we're going to be replacing that with actually a chain here from 360. You can disregard all of this hardware. With the new installation, we'll be providing new hardware. Next part of removal is basically just take this to release that spring, let that go forward so that we have ability. There's two bolts up here. This particular planter has a insecticide attachment on it, so you're going to see that hanging down here that'll actually fall out. During taking the screws out, one thing that might be helpful is just having somebody hold these gauge wheels back just in order for you to be able to get in here a little bit better with the impact. Once this unit is off, your removal process is complete. As we start the installation, you're going to start with the hardware kit. Basically open it up and you're going to be looking for these two bolts right here. So the bolts that we took out of the row unit to drop it, we don't need, we disregard. The ones that go back up in here are actually ones that 360 is going to supply you. So the first part of installation is we're actually going to use these two holes, and we're going to come up and we're going to reinstall this back up underneath here. So now that you've got the bolts in, you're going to take your impact. It's going to take a 16mm socket to drive those up and in. Once we've got those tightened, we've got the main bracket installed. Next step in installation is we're going to focus on getting the hose guides and hoses on the Bandit. You're basically going to get your Bandit liquid supply kit, which is going to have all of this in there. You're also going to need to get your hardware kit out in order to get the screws to be able to mount them. You're going to need four of these that come in the kit, along with 4 lock nuts. Next, you want to take the hose. This is the hose guide. Basically the end is where the hose actually goes through. You're going to put it through slightly about 1/8 of an inch past. Then you're going to you're going to press this hose into here like this, and that's the installation of the hose into the hose guide. So once you've got the hose and the hose guide, you're going to know that they're color coded here with the sticker. Right is always red, so that's coming from the operator's seat. So you're going to take this one, you're going to come up and you're going to put it in these two holes right here. You're going to take a screw, come through, push it. Basically you're going to want to insert, the nut is going to be on the inside part of the Bandit. So the bolt's going to be a 1/4 inch bolt. Basically take a 7/16 socket. You're going to want to ever so slightly tighten those down. And you've assembled that hose guide. Next step is you're going to take the one that has the green sticker on it. Green simulates left from the driver's seat. You're going to put this up in here. Again, you insert the bolt from the outside. Nut goes to the inside of the row. Next part of the installation is actually to put the discs on. So you're going to open the package with the 2 discs. You're going to come and go back to your hardware kit. You're going to find these bolts right here. They take a 24mm socket in order to tighten them. You're also going to have 2 of these spacers, as well as 2 nuts that go along with it as well. So as we get ready to mount the discs, we come back to the main bracket. We take the hoses that we assembled just a step earlier. We want them to run behind the spring up here. Put them up here on the planter so that they don't fall back. Just turn them. That way when we insert the disc, they're going to be in position to where we're going to finally want them to be. Next step for installation of the disc is you're going to put the bolt through. You're going to come around and put the spacer on the back. You're going to push it through the hole and put the nut on. Again, it's going to take a 24mm wrench and socket to tighten it. You just want to repeat the process as you install the disc on the other side of the main frame. Next step is to basically just put the dust caps over those bolts that we just put in and tighten. You're simply going to put it here, tap those in, and you're just going to want to repeat that as well on the other side on the other disc. So next part of installation is basically to reinstall the closing wheel mounting back to the rear of the Bandit. And what you're going to need for hardware are these 2 bolts. These are the longer of the 4, the 2 of the 4 that we had. The shorter ones actually mounted it, the Bandit to the front part of the row unit. You're also going to need flat washers and also lock nuts. And so once we get ready to install this, we're just going to lift this up to the row unit like this. Basically drop it down through the hole. If we do have an insecticide mount, we want to shove this up through the hole. It'll slide up over top of the bolt that we just dropped. Take the washer, put it up on the bolt, and start the nut. One thing you want to do before you tighten these bolts up, you just want to make sure that everything is straight. You may have to have someone help you hold it as you go underneath and tighten these up from the bottom. Once you've got the closing mounting reinstalled to the Bandit, just make sure you take your hose from the insecticide down into the rubber, tighten it up so that it's back reconnected so that you're ready to go. Moving to the next part of the install, we're going to focus on the plumbing part. So what you're going to have coming with 360 Bandit the first year is we are shipping with the kit a 57 orifice. That may or may not be your orifice of choice. It tends to be the most common orifice. What you need to do is take these rubber washers to hold the orifice. You insert those like that. You're also going to have these 2 pieces. You're going to screw this together like this. This is your 3/8 push connect. It's typically where you're going to be bringing the product back to the back of the planter. You're also going to have a Y. And you're also going to have some zip ties to help keep things where you want them. One of the first steps when it comes to plumbing is really just starting to protect the hose from moving parts of the Bandit. So we got a hole drilled here that's going to allow you to come in, take one of the zip ties that we provide. What you want to do is keep that hose back here behind as you zip tie it. The reason for that is that as dirt comes along here, we're basically protecting the hose and not allowing a bridge for buildup. You're going to want to repeat that on both sides of the Bandit mounting bracket. Next step is to take the hose, and basically because of just different row units, we've given you plenty of hose to be able to route that however you want to. You're going to put the orifice down in here. I've already got this one installed. You're going to take the system or the hose up to the Y. Lots of times the first time you're going to need a pliers. They're just very, very tight. And bring that together. Next step is just take the other hose. Again, put the orifice down in there. Come back up to the Y. Be able to move that in. The last part is really what the part that we give you to be able to hook what you're bringing back to the planter. You take a rubber washer, put it in there. Also put the Quick connect in there, tighten it, and then coming from the planter is typically a 3/8 push connect, tubular hose to go into the push connect. You're able to put that in and basically finish up your plumbing. Next part of the assembly is to start the assembly part of the chain drag kit that follows the row unit. So all this hardware right here, all this chain that you see right here is going to be a part of that. First thing you really want to do is just lay these out like this. Insert the chain, take the chain clip, put it down, put the bolt through, put the nut on. This is a 7/16 socket that you're going to need, and just snug those up. This side we've already put together. Again, just snug that bolt up just to secure that chain into that bracket. Starting the actual install of the drag chain bracket to the closing wheel. First thing we do is take one of the bolts that we provide, go through the bracket. Then you take the spacer that we provide and also go through. That's when you push it into the closing wheel. Then you take the hardware that we saved from the John Deere. When we took that off, you put the spacer on, and then you put the washer on. And then you're ready to put this one onto the planter mount. Insert the bolt. Make sure that when you're doing this, you stagger it, the closing wheels, the exact way that they came off, and just put it on loosely and just let it hang. Next step, once you've got it just on loose, is to tighten it up and basically set this bracket the way that you want it. So this is really a two-man job. The idea is to be able to keep this at roughly the angle of this bracket right here. So we're going to have someone step in and basically hold that bracket to the best of their ability. We're going to reach across, tighten that up, and basically you're going to duplicate that on the other side as well. Make sure you prepare to put the chain across the second wheel, that you make sure you hold it up, make sure there's no kinks in here, and just make sure that it's straight as you come down and get ready to mount this to the other wheel. And your installation is complete.